Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Yay!
No one gives a shit. Neither the hosts nor the audience gives a shit.
Well, we do have Joe here who is from the Honeycomb Hideout. So that's pretty cool. I feel like that gives us some clout here amongst nerds.
Why have you called us here, oh Chinese nerd?
I have called us here because of Amazon's Rings of Power.
The $1 billion
Per episode.
No,
per
total.
whatever.
I think it was a quarter bill. It was $250 million just to get the rights, and then $1 billion to actually produce the series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
it's a fucking aircraft carrier.
yeah.
I can't tell you if it was worth it. I can tell you I had a good time watching it, especially like the last like 3/4 or so of it.
I liked everything that involved the Harfoots. Like that was some of my favorite stuff. I enjoyed the show.
It was delightful.
Like overall, but like everything that happened with the Harfoots was like my favorite stuff.
So what's the problem?
Honestly, it was a fun show overall. I really think that they made some interesting choices, but overall,
Okay.
I don't think it was a waste of time.
All right, so that's 3 so far. Andy, did you like it?
I made it through the whole thing. It's beautiful. I kept expecting to hate it from everything that I had read and seen about it. I was like, okay, it's going to get bad any moment now. And at no point did I run into anything that upset me. I enjoyed
All right.
everything.
So
You're so stoic.
Well, all right. So here's where things take the ugly turn. A lot of the YouTube critics that I follow, including some of the ones I like the Critical Drinker and a couple others, they did not like it at all. They felt that it had veered very far away from the source material, that it was something that would have made Tolkien roll over in his grave. And like some of the things that they absolutely hated about it were the fact that Galadriel was this badass warrior chick.
Should she not be?
I don't know. Like, wasn't she? I thought she was. I thought that she was like written as like she wasn't she like the leader of an army?
Although all they had for rights was like a little bit of appendixes from either The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, maybe both. They didn't have the Silmarillion. They didn't have a lot of the like other legendarium stuff. They had they had a tiny amount of stuff that they could put in a whole lot of room to work with. So whatever Ganon Galadriel was supposed to be doing at that time, we don't know. It's not written down, I don't think, anywhere. Nothing I remember anyway. So if she was a badass warrior chick at some point in the Second Age, cool. That's all.
I mean, look at Elrond. Like he was a full-on warrior badass just at the beginning of Lord of the Rings. When Isildur gets the ring, but then by the later point, he's this administrative lord of the elves.
Yes, it's almost as if I didn't wish to be found. What tidings?
Like, I mean, people that live that long can have a few different career paths.
They get stuck with an office job.
One would hope.
That's what happens when you make it to Admiral. They push you into an office and you never get to see a fighter jet again.
If you're living 10,000 years, man, you better be willing to. You have to be changing your stuff up a bit, or you're just gonna get bored.
All right, well,
Yeah.
what they didn't like, and when I say they, I'm talking about these other YouTube critics out there. So what they didn't like is they didn't like the fact that she was a badass.
I wonder where that comes from.
Right? Well, it's the what do they call it? Is the Mary Sue?
A Mary Sue character?
Yeah.
No.
All right. So they felt that she was a Mary Sue character, someone who was just kind of badass from the start and remains this awesome badass throughout. Like nothing can stop her. She is invincible. She has no flaws.
By the time you see her, she's been a general for 1,000 years already. Like, what do they want?
And also, they clearly didn't watch like 4 or 5 episodes by the time they came to that conclusion. because she screwed up a few times, multiple times throughout this show.
She had lapses in judgment.
Yeah.
It's like, in theory, if you kind of look at it, lapses in judgment, but like, honest to God, this is a mistake and was very obviously a mistake in the show.
I thought she was well done. I thought the acting on her part was good. I thought the character was well done. She was obviously pretty talented, and was able to fight really well. But that's what I would have expected. So I was not shocked.
When Nerdrotic looked at this, I mean, he hated it from the moment they announced that they were doing it, and then they released a trailer, and he hated it even more. And then the actual movie or show came out, and he just repeatedly, like 5 videos per episode about his hatred for it, and it just kind of kept on going. And it was her, it was the dwarf.
Oh, Durin? You got issues with Durin?
No, I guess. Okay, he had issues with the black dwarf and the black elf.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. But his argument behind it was they had thrown these characters in just to be diverse without any explanation behind it. They're just like, and now these characters are there.
In the source material that they have, there's a very, very few characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a tiny appendix. If they're going to just stick to what they have, or could extrapolate, you couldn't have a show.
And I'm not going to lie, this highlights one of the things that really irks me about a lot of this BS criticisms that get thrown around on a lot of shows lately. Folks only looking at it for the content and not what it took to make the content. Because no decision in a show or any movie or any material is made arbitrarily. There is always a reason for making that decision, and it's very rarely the reason that anyone expects it to be. And that just irks the hell out of me.
Having seen the Book of Boba Fett, I'm going to say not all decisions are good decisions.
They're not all good decisions, but there's always a reason for every decision.
Fair enough.
Danny Trejo deserved a much bigger role. The Book of Boba Fett.
He really did.
I would have loved to seen Machete tearing shit up on Mos Eisley.
I'm really sad, actually, that he didn't get to... Well, I'm sure his series is going to come out in a couple of months.
Well, as I understand it, I haven't made my way through the series yet, but as I understand it, there are some characters from the dwarfs and the elves, and they happen to be black.
Yeah.
But they don't... It doesn't affect their story or their character at all.
It really
It's just,
doesn't.
This is an actor, and the actor happens to be black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the...
There was no problem. I had no problem with any of these characters. They were fine.
I mean, she had a dope singing voice.
She did have a dope singing voice, and honestly, she ended up being one of my favorite characters in the series. I really, really dug her.
Yeah. Loved her eyes. They did a good job.
Her really weird eyes. Yeah, I didn't find her a distraction. She didn't at any point she did not stand on a soapbox to talk about, any sort of weird political issues or anything like that. She was just an actress playing a role in this fantasy realm, and it was fine.
When my elven people were brought here from Elf Africa against our elf wills. So what's the Nerdrotic complaint then? That they were just trying to be woke?
Yes, that was the complaint. They're trying to be woke, and they're trying to make stuff for the modern audience or the world we live in today, and pushing
That's
the
how
message.
money gets
Isn't that the
made.
fucking point of making art? For people to fucking see it?
Yeah.
There's a rule here. If somebody's like just trying to be woke, the person who says that, you found the asshole removed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I will say that people look to him like he is like an expert in all things nerdy. But that's because he sits in this room that's
focus.
full of...
God damn it.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Well, he's in this room, and like behind him is just this huge wall of collectibles and toys and action figures. Now, as you can see, I do not have a giant wall of toys and collectibles and action figures, because I'm a goddamned adult and I like to have sex with women. I'm just
It
saying,
is
having
just-
all the toys
it's
and
adult-
collectibles doesn't make you an expert. And
Correct.
it's just...
Certainly doesn't get you women.
Is
Depends on the kind you're looking for.
goofy little skinny Santa
Sadly,
Claus
that is
looking.
true, yeah.
Looks like... Remember the bikers that Pee Wee Herman ran into in the Pee Wee movie?
I say we let him go.
He looks like one of those, but like one of the extras in the back that didn't get to say anything. I just stand back there and look like a reject biker.
Yeah. He tied everything that what I did see of that video came across as one of those nerd traditionalists that is effectively a nerd conservative, in that they miss the good old days of geek and pop culture content before all these minorities and other type of folks started getting involved with making and consuming the content. You see them all over comic books, the comic book culture, and now they're just branching out and everything else. And fact of the matter is, literary culture has been chock full of them for even longer. And now that everything is getting adapted, now they're coming out to play too.
Well, and then you find people that try to find those guys and weaponize them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you remember Gamergate.
Oh,
I remember Gamergate. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
But then luckily there are others like us who, quite rightly, I would say, mock them.
Yes.
And that's the other issue, is like, what's going to get clicks? Rings of Power, it's awesome. You should watch it. You should watch it twice. Or Rings of Power is terrible. $1 billion debacle. Careers falling from the sky.
Black dwarfs! It's the end of American civilization!
What's going to get clicks?
Oh yeah, drama will always get clicks, no matter what you're talking about.
All right, so let's talk. So we've got like the Lord of the Rings, we've got the Hobbit, we've got the Silmarillion, which if somebody tells you you read it, there is a 75% chance they're lying. And there's like tons of detail, like tons of detail. So if you are like, if that is your special interest or like that's your thing, you can get deep into it, like huge deep roots all the way down miles of Tolkien lore. And then some of these people love it when stuff changes, or love it when new people engage. But some of these people, like, this is their life. So, like, when they don't see all the elves being fair of skin and long of hair, like, they're seeing something change and it makes them twitch. And then when these, like, kind of neo-gamergator sort of assholes come in and they find these twitching guys and encourage them.
Poke him with a stick. See how loud we can make him yell.
Yeah. You're right. You're right, because if I look at it the other way, this is your thing, this is your religion. I feel that way about Star Trek.
Right.
And I fucking hate J.J. Abrams. I want to knock his fucking teeth out for what he's done to Star Trek. Because he has fundamentally changed it and made it something stupid. I don't think a small little casting decision has done the same thing to Lord of the Rings. They haven't fundamentally changed the story at all.
No, I don't think they have.
He just doesn't want black people as elves.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you can actually apply that same bit to Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, because they made some pretty significant casting choices there as well, and you had some people get up in arms about it, but none of it fundamentally changed the core content.
No.
A lot of, like, the only changes that they made were in accordance with it being an adaptation of what was effectively a textbook. And, you know, no, they didn't go against anything really in a major way that wasn't in the original Game of Thrones either. So,
And I get it. I mean, we're all fans of something that has probably by now been bastardized by Hollywood at some point or another. We all had to sit through Transformers, and we all had to sit through the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they were all just like, no, that's not what they look, that's not what they say, no. But G.I. Joe, the one with the rock, of course.
oh, well, yeah, fine.
Like, the difference being, though, speaking at least only for myself, I'm not going to sit there and say, you like G.I. Joe? movie, you're an idiot. You have been like taken over by the left. They don't want to do it anymore. Like, or whatever. Like, if you like the new Transformers movies, well, my wife does. More power to her. She has something that she enjoys.
There you go.
Yep. I had one of my good buddies from way back in the day. He ate, slept, and breathed Transformers. Was all over the Michael Bay movies, and he was a Gen 1er basically with Transformers.
Like us.
Like
but
us.
he loved every bit of the Michael Bay movies.
Ooh, not
and
like
all
us.
I could do
Not
was
like
look
us,
at
no.
him. Exactly. And I could just look. All I could do was look at him and just be a little puzzled. But you know what? As Courtney would say, I'm not gonna yuck his yum. That's his bag. He gets to enjoy everything in it.
That's fair. And I guess when I came away from Rings of Power and I was like, I really liked it. I thought that was really good.
yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, have you ever seen the original? Of course I've seen the original. I liked it very much. I thought this was a really great tie into the original. That was great. Well, didn't you read the books? No. They were like this thick. I didn't want to read that. No.
Well, they're hard.
And then,
They're hard reads.
They're hard reads. And
100
I didn't want to. And I'm like, well, then you're not a real fan.
They're not that entertaining. The fact of the matter is, you will go through 6 pages of text describing what color shade of green the grass is. It's not a fun read.
100 pages of the first Lord of the Rings book, and they hadn't even made it to that end where they meet Aragorn. Dude.
It's just
a
boring.
lot of nothing.
It's just boring.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
Talking about Stephen King over describing.
And I've read it. And I'm just like, damn.
All
But
right.
that's
well,
the nature of fandom, though. There are those that get hardcore into it and build their entire personality around it, and then there are those that can view a thing as content. They like it or they don't, and they move on.
And when you
And that
are
just-
when you are either the person creating it or you are the studio licensing it, who are you making this for? Are you making it for those hardcore fans, or are you making it for everybody else? And I guess at that point you just have to kind of figure out, well, what percentage makes up the hardcore fan?
Yeah.
And it's this tiny, tiny little percentage. All right, what about everybody else? Let's
Yeah.
make the movie for them. How about that?
We're willing to
that
alienate the
is
small
the rub.
hardcore fans.
Yeah.
Also, can you even make the hardcore fan movie?
You
I don't-
can't actually,
I don't
because
even know
the
what that would be.
hardcore fan is like 7 different shades of hardcore.
That's right. You wouldn't even you would make it perfect for the one guy, and then 10 others would come at you for it. How dare you? And
I think about
Exactly.
so
all
you
the time.
just cannot make them happy.
this, like Captain America: The First Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they tried to have like the little wings and the pirate boots.
Mm-hmm.
On like one of the first takes of the costume.
Mhm.
As soon as they tried to put that in real life and film it, it
was-
looked just objectively dumb.
Yeah, we've seen it. There was another Captain America movie that came out.
Ronnie Cox, Kim Gillingham, Scott Paulin as the Red Skull, and Matt Salinger as the Marvel Comics hero, Captain America.
And
Early 80s, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it made a budget of $50, and it
Matt
had big
Skull was
wings.
Italian for some reason.
Yeah. So like you're not gonna make it like right from the page to the screen and have it be exact no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It just won't work if you try.
Yep.
Yeah, they tried it with the X-Men. First X-Men, they tried the gold and black. They actually made them, and they started to film it, and this looks stupid.
Yeah,
Start all over. It's not
stop.
going to
It
work. It
looks
doesn't work on
ridiculous.
camera.
You people look ridiculous.
That I can understand that.
Yeah.
That explains the joke that they worked in.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous. They made one change in Rings of Power that I was actually all about. And the only reason why I know this is because I watch these angry YouTube people. But they were all upset because they're like, oh, that Gandalf is supposed to show up. Spoiler alert. Gandalf was supposed to show up sometime, much later than this. And I guess the way it's written is he just shows up on a boat with the other wizards.
Huh.
And then
I like
they
this
go do
way
their
better.
thing. This way makes so much more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we even know for sure that this is Gandalf yet. It could be one of the other
Oh,
ones.
they have not confirmed it. That is actually technically
I honestly
true.
hope it is Gandalf. I mean, I feel like duh, but
Oh yeah,
that connection.
yeah.
the context clues are all there, but yeah, they have not said the name yet. So
Well, it would make just so much sense. Why does Gandalf like halflings? Why does he trust them so much over everybody else? Oh, this makes perfect sense. This is why he trusts them so much.
Mm-hmm. It would actually be really, really fucked up if this turned out to be Saruman.
Whoops.
Yeah, that would be a hell of a twist.
No, because then he turns evil and he's like, well, I'm first order of decree, like, just kill a bunch of halflings. Like, seriously waste them all because they're gonna mess up everything.
Oh, then season 2 is really gonna take a funny twist.
The whole idea of Saruman is he was supposed to be good, but you never get to see him as being good. So that would really strain people and show that a good person can really change if this was Saruman. But yeah, no, doubt it.
No, I don't think it's gonna be. It's gonna be Gandalf. This show, while really fun, is very predictable. But not in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, the moment she gets pulled up onto the raft, I was like, oh, that's an evil guy. I bet you it's the big evil.
The twist of Sauron.
Yeah, and then later on, like, ta-da, I'm Sauron, and everybody was like, duh.
It was definitely one of those things where it's like, they wanted it to be a back and forth, but
no,
there were enough clues there that it's like, enough people were gonna guess it that it wasn't gonna be a surprise.
No.
Personally, I was like, oh wow, they actually pulled the trigger on that. Okay.
Like how they pulled the trigger on it.
That was
true.
actually very cool. That was very cool.
It's
how they did it was better than them doing it.
I have no problems with anything that's going to be predictable, as long as we're taking a new path to get there. I get it. There's only so many ways, or there are only so many stories you can tell. So just give me a different path to it, and I'll be happy.
Yeah,
I did like a lot of violence in it, and they didn't like pull any punches with the deaths and that whole mood. It was very dark at a lot of times, and they didn't hold back from that. It didn't have a Disney feel to it. I think they pulled from Game of Thrones and had a darker feel, which I thought was fitting.
It was never dark as Game of Thrones, but nor was it the bright and cheeky Disney. It was a nice happy medium in between, which felt like the original Lord of the Rings. I mean, it was like right in the middle there. And
like, the orcs in this one didn't really feel like generic bad guys, so much as like almost like horror movie monsters.
Yeah,
which was a really great vibe because I never found the orcs scary in the original movies. These orcs definitely felt like intimidating presences, which I was very happy to.
Less like brainless zombie monsters, more like a real formidable bad guy force, I guess, so.
I did notice that the first orc that they fought was like impossible to kill because the plot had a good idea. And then afterwards, the orcs were fairly easy to kill afterwards. Just a single stab.
Oh god! All right, so there's a child, so we're gonna have to stun. Yeah, we're gonna have to end it quick.
Can't show that. It changes the whole.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me and for talking about this Lord of the Rings stuff with me and nerding out with me.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Alrighty.
Subscribe for our channel.
See you later.